Hello and welcome to In the Know. I'm Mark Crosby of Quincy Access Television. My voice dropped just a few octaves. I believe my guest is a baritone, maybe?
I am a baritone. I flex between a bass and a tenor, so I'm right in the middle there.
Well, I'm definitely all bass today.
There he goes.
My guest is, of course, the Norfolk County Sheriff, Patrick McDermott. Sheriff, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We're back I can't believe it's 2022. I mean, it just seems like yesterday I was graduating BC High back in '87, so craziness that comes along.
Yeah, it feels like that. And then I realized, or maybe you and I both realized, especially this past weekend when we were shoveling snow, our bodies aren't quite there.
Not what we think we're 22,
yeah, right.
But it's 2022, and I'm 52, so.
So am I.
Gotta watch the heart.
I gotcha. Let's talk about maybe plans for the new year, 2022, in relation to the Sheriff's Office.
So as last year I was sworn in as Sheriff in January, just a little over a year ago, and it took a good portion of the year just to get used to the position, kind of set up shop, get my staff in place where we needed to. Started to do a few things that we thought we could accomplish in a very short period of time, and we accomplished a lot. I look at 2021 as being a year of good accomplishments, setting up the operation, going through multiple audits and accreditations, just to make sure that the facility was where I knew I wanted it to be, and giving it a solid foundation of where I want to take it. And so as we turn towards 2022, I feel as though we're positioned to really start accomplishing some of the things that I set forth on the original campaign about prevention, intervention, education, and hope. And focusing on 2022 will be on that hope, that education and hope portion, about really focusing on the justice-involved individuals that we work with on a day-to-day basis, focusing on the effort of reentry, rehabilitation, because as I say to residents throughout the county, the men that are coming into our facility, whether they're serving 10 days or 2.5 years, these individuals are coming back to your hometown. They're coming back to Quincy, they're coming to Bellingham, they're coming to Needham, they're coming to Plainville, and it's my obligation as the sheriff to make sure that I deliver a product back to the community, a product that is better than the product that I received on the front end. So focus on reentry, rehabilitation. That's the focus on 2022.
2021 also saw an award awarded to the facility.
Yeah, so we were able to go through a series of various audits and accreditations. The biggest one is the American Corrections Association, and it was a for multiple day audit. We received an award for basically a perfect score across the board on our facility, and we've built upon that. As I always say, our staff and our facility needs to be audit ready every day. That's a challenge. You can't just be ready when the team comes in to inspect. We want to make sure that we're up and running every day, and that's why we have daily briefings. We make sure that we're up to par. So we're very honored to get that accreditation and that award, and we're hoping to repeat it when they have to come back again in 3 years.
Well, once again, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. So let's talk about programming for justice-involved individuals.
Yeah, so it was a challenging year. Certainly prior to my becoming sheriff, COVID kind of shut down a lot of the programming opportunities for those folks that were in our facility. We reopened a lot of the programming that was existing last year to kind of get back into the gist of things. We looked at all of the programming that we have, and we kind of focused on what works, what didn't work, and then how we could prospectively go forward on building upon the successes that we've had in the past. And 2022 is going to be all about that, about figuring on how to focus on reentry, rehabilitation, so that people, once they leave our facility, have been set up for success.
There's something called the Re-Entry Hotline.
Yeah, this is something that we think is really important. Our focus, for the most part, historically, the Sheriff's Office has been focused on dealing with people while they're at the facility. We want to make sure that there's a continuing of care that goes on post-incarceration, and in order for us to facilitate that, we need to build out a full program of community corrections for post-incarceration. So when individuals leave our facility, they have access to the programs, access to some of the resources that we have, even if it's as simple as access to our staff for mentorship and other things. So one of the things that came out of our brainstorming was to put together a 24/7 hotline that individuals can call, whether or not they're having problems with mental health issues, substance use disorder issues, finding work skill development classes, whatever the case may be. This 24/7-hour hotline will work. We're expanding on that, and not only is it going to be a hotline, but we are building out the Sheriff's app. And it's going to be an app on a person's phone. It'll be not just for justice-involved individuals. There'll be a section for that portion of our focal group, but it'll be an app that'll be available for the public as well to see some of the available options that are available for people. So that hotline will be the start of it, but it'll actually grow into an app that will be able to be used by people throughout the county.
It's nice because there is assistance out there, and that is very, very important.
Yep.
You don't want the individual back in your facility.
Right, and the goal is to cut down on the recidivism rate. There's COVID. If there was one lesson that it's shown a light on incarceration and some of the problems with our incarceration. Luckily, Massachusetts is the lowest, I think, in the country in terms of the incarceration rate, which is a pretty good step in the right direction. During COVID, we actually took another step to really take a look at whether or not individuals really need to be in the facilities in the first place. Nonviolent offenders that are really just dealing with mental health, substance use disorder issues that might be better served in programming outside of a jail environment. So those are the things that we're going to look at, and that app will have a list of all the resources available and allow a back and forth conversation between the Sheriff's Office, which will be our community corrections team, and those individuals.
Talk about the focus on employability.
So, you need to focus on people. We need to make sure that it's one thing to talk about, they need a job when they get out of our facility, but it's another thing to make sure that they're set up for the success. Do they have the skills required that are needed in the workforce? Do they know how to write a resume? Do they know how to prepare for a job interview? These are all like the basic skills that we want to make sure that these justice-involved men and women, soon to be, in our facility have. And so we want to make sure that their employability of the individual is a focal point of everything that we do.
You mentioned women, and let's talk about women employment and the New England Wildlife Center.
Yeah, it's what a gem, and you don't even know about some of these things, but the New England Wildlife Center is located right down in Weymouth. It's a beautiful facility that takes care of wild animals. It's not just it's a veterinary hospital, but it takes care of all kinds of animals. I mean, you're typically used to, like, I have a couple of cats, or I had a couple of cats, I still have one. We have dogs and rabbits and household pets that we bring to the local vet. The New England Wildlife Center deals with snakes, raccoons, squirrels, birds, crows, turtles, all kinds of really interesting wildlife creatures. And we have partnered up with New England Wildlife, as well as the Suffolk County Sheriff, my good friend Sheriff Tompkins, where he's gracious to be hosting the women that are currently Norfolk County convicted women that are serving their sentence in the Suffolk County facility, because we don't yet have our fully built out facility for women yet. But we've had this partnership on the basis of employability with New England Wildlife Center. So we bring our women, and some of the Suffolk County women, down to New England Wildlife, and these women are taught basic skills on veterinary skills, how to take care of animals, and it's been a really big success so far, and I'm hoping to see with our first graduation in a couple of weeks. And once again, on that employability, these women have been exposed to a new skill set that they might not otherwise have ever imagined, and we're hoping that with the women that have gone through this program, we might get a couple of them that are actually interested in the profession, and we'll work with them to get employed.
In the field, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Employment boot camp.
Employment boot camp, right out of, Parris Island. So we want to focus on making sure that justice-involved individuals understand all the basic concepts of a job search. You know, how do you build your motivation and resilience out in the job? Not to get discouraged when you've applied for 10 jobs and you get 10 rejections. You got to go to that 11th interview, the 12th interview. You need to identify, what are the skills that you have that you want to market to the workforce, and so that it'll result in mock interviewing, resume building, and it's a safe opportunity for these folks who, this can be, for anybody that hasn't been through a job search, that's an intimidating process. And so this is a safe opportunity for them to practice, to understand what they're up against, and then hopefully see some success stories within that mock environment that'll translate into the real world scenarios. So.
Right. I mean, writing skills,
Yes.
the whole application process,
Yep.
cover letters and such.
Yeah, we want to make sure too that you and I are dating ourselves a little bit when we talk about resume writing and cover letters but
We've already given our ages. So.
we want to make sure that we modernize that approach too. I mean, I haven't been on a job interview myself other than through politics for 25 years. I haven't had to update my resume necessarily. However, we translate that into a technological approach. I mean, people looking for jobs now don't do it by looking at the back of the Sunday paper or the Boston Globe. They do it online. I want to teach these individuals how to set up a LinkedIn profile, how to go on, whether it's a job search site like Indeed.com, how to set up their basic profile that they're looking for a job, what their marketable skills are. So we have to translate what is typically the basic points of how do you find a job into the modern technological age. And it's a learning experience for me as well, because I haven't been down that road, and I'm learning it now so that I can teach it to these individuals going forward.
Reentry portfolio organization programming. So basically, it helps justice-involved individuals compile a portfolio.
Yeah, so our individuals, who either have to go out to get ready to go out to the workforce, but even before that, who might be going on probation or in front of the parole board or a basic job interview, it basically includes items like while they've been in our facility, they've earned their certificate in bloodborne pathogens, or how to do hazmat cleanup, or HVAC work, carpentry skills, whatever certificates or meritorious achievements they've received. We show them how to put together their reentry portfolio. It's a little bit more than just a resume. It actually shows proof of what they've done and their certifications. And they basically go in front of these groups, some probation, parole, or in front of an employer, and to be able to provide that portfolio to an individual that discusses their references and their certificates, and it establishes more legitimacy to their job search. So it looks as though that will be a move in the right direction.
Another avenue, if you will, and here's where avenue came into play, play on words, driving commercial vehicles. You know what?
It's probably the one profession today that's in the most demand. I think we've all experienced the shortages at the store. It wasn't just a snowstorm that caused the milk and the bread to go off the shelves. We have a lack of skilled drivers that can actually transport our goods to the local marketplace. And so we believe that this is a place that we can really fill in the gap by training individuals the skills of CDL, get their CDL license. And it's one thing to get the skills and the training. The licensure requirement is pretty intense, and we want to make sure if there are any obstacles to licensing based upon prior conviction, that we can help them overcome that. And we have a good partnership with our friends in Local 25, the union, the truckers union. We have a good partnership with the RMV to work through any kind of problems that they've had with their driving record, to try to clean up some of the driving record issues so that they can get that CDL training and get a job in the workplace.
Although
Plus, I sorry to interrupt real quick
No.
too. One of the things too we have to focus on, and I just talked about this with the chief of police in Plainville. Part of the problem with recidivism is when an individual gets entered into the community that they came from, where the problems existed. So if you're coming out of the city of Quincy and you go back to the city of Quincy, you start hanging out with the same crowd, doing the same stuff, there's a high likelihood you're going to end up back in the criminal justice system. The beautiful thing about a CDL license, it gives you an ability to see the country.
Absolutely.
You can take that skill and market that skill throughout all of North America, for that matter. And so it really gives it an opportunity for that individual to get out of their local environment and actually see the country a little bit, learn new opportunities, meet new people.
Let's talk about those entrepreneurs that are out there.
You know what? There's so many, and I've talked to several of them in my facility that just because for lack of confidence, they have ideas and skill set. They want to start a business, and that could be a whole host of things. They need the skills though. That how do I start a business? How do I put together a business plan for my idea?
I love watching Shark Tank.
It's basically that. It's like, you know, these bizarre what someone would think of as a bizarre idea, all of a sudden goes to market. You know, how to identify funding sources, how to get involved with the local chamber of commerce, how to get into an incubator program. I know the city of Quincy has a fantastic incubator program through the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. I think they still have it. If they don't, I'm sure they'll be resurrecting that now that we're post-COVID. But these are the skills that we want to bring into our facility. Oddly enough, it's somewhat controversial, but you know, it's willing to explore, even in the new realm of cannabis. The Cannabis Control Commission has authorized programs for folks that have been have been discriminated through, you know, being arrested for and convicted and served time for marijuana possession or marijuana small-time dealing. Now that marijuana has been legitimized, there are opportunities within the cannabis environment for individuals to start up their own companies. We've actually had 2 formerly incarcerated Norfolk County Correctional Facility individuals who are now starting their own cannabis recreational facilities. I think one's in Brockton, and I forget where the other one is, but those 2 individuals are now on the road to success as entrepreneurs.
Excellent, excellent to hear. Let's talk about community partners and talk about veterans and veterans, something called the Veterans Workshop.
So we have several. We have a lot of veterans that are incarcerated that have gone through, you know, some traumatic issues after their service. And one of the things we want to do is we want to get those individuals together. First of all, to deal with some of the issues that they've been facing as to what got them in the criminal justice system in the first place. We're going to start actually a veterans unit within the sheriff's office to have these men live with each other. And hopefully talk to each other. We have some classification issues that have to get over, but our Veterans Workshop wants to focus on partnering up with the Veterans Administration, Volunteers of America, our local veterans agents, town by town, to start talking about how we can talk about the importance, the topics that are important to our veterans, you know, and certainly whether it comes to, you know, marketability skills that they have, some of the post-traumatic stress that they deal with, and whatever got them involved, whether it's mental illness or substance use disorder issues. There's a lot of issues that veterans, a lot of common issues that veterans are dealing with, and I think it's important for us to address it. I was up in Middlesex County, and Sheriff Katusian, I toured his veterans unit that he has, and very impressed with what they've been able to do working with veterans. And when veterans bind themselves together and work together, that's what they're used to. If they've actually served time or been deployed, teamwork is everything, and to get back into that environment, in a learning environment that helps them develop their skills, we think that's going to be really important. So I'm looking forward to launching that this year.
Commercial Painters, a program that involves training.
Yeah, one of our community service components that we have at the jail is to send work crews out, and I think we just recently repainted Avon Town Hall. I think we're doing some work up in Needham with the Housing Authority, and most of that is demo and repainting housing units. I was at a Rotary Club meeting in Sharon, I think it was, and one of the gentlemen who was there owned a painting company. And he was mentioning to me he has more work than he knows what to do with, and he doesn't have enough skilled labor to do the work that he needs to do in his business. So, we said, why not? As basic as painting is, which I'm very bad at, by the way. I've tried it. It's a mess at my house every time it's even happened. But it's a skill that can be developed. And we're going to be partnering up with Corey-friendly employers who will assist us with training men on that skill set. It translates instantly to a job. You don't need a license to learn how to paint or to paint. You just need to go through what we're going to create a curriculum and get a certificate made up that they've been through a basic, painting course, and then hopefully that will translate into a job once they leave our facility.
Years ago, it used to be wallpaper, but wallpapering is pretty much done now, and of course, interior, obviously,
Yep.
for that, but a lot of painting goes on inside of a facility as well as what's done on the exterior.
Yep, and we have a lot of maintenance that goes on within our facility there that our justice involved individuals do participate in, both in the facility and outside. And these things, we actually teach janitorial services. Another skill set that, these are jobs that they're the hidden jobs. You don't see it happen. Like a janitor usually works the overnight shift, cleans the baskets, cleans the toilets, scrubs the floor, vacuums. You don't see that going on. But when you show up at your office every day, everything it smells great and it's clean.
Right.
But there's a skill set involved in that. So even janitorial services are something that we have our guys do consistent, and they can get a certificate in that. Rug cleaning, we do. So these are those hidden jobs that actually pay pretty well out in the job force. And that's what we want to make sure set these people up for success.
And also the removal of paint, graffiti.
Yeah, graffiti works. Yeah, absolutely. I know when I was on the city council back 1,000 years ago, we purchased.
When you were 20.
Yeah, I was young back in the day, but I remember Commissioner Colton. We purchased one of those graffiti removal machines, and it was a big deal. It was expensive back then, but it was something that the city of Quincy looked forward to. So, but that's the thing. Graffiti removal is a big. It's a profession these days, that you go out and help municipalities, help the state to clean up the various arts. Some call it artwork, but I'm still in the graffiti zone.
Well, I think there's a place.
Exactly.
Let's talk about community outreach. And you and I are now on to water. But earlier today, I think you and I both had coffee.
Yes, we did.
And you had coffee in Plainville.
I did. So we're going to the extremes here today. So obviously I was down in Plainville this morning at 8 o'clock, and now I'm filming here in Quincy today. But we've been setting up these. It was kind of just by happenstance we started talking about how could we do a little bit more of community building, with the sheriff's office and the local communities. And I think we were at a breakfast place when I was talking with my external affairs director, and we looked around like, what better environment than a diner or a coffee shop where local people in the community gather to discuss the issues of the day, talk about what's going on in the community. So this morning was exactly what we look for in these coffee hours. The chief of police was there, the fire chief was there, the town administrator, a couple of members of the select board were there. There was some residents were there. We typically have just a coffee chat with everybody. Have a little breakfast if somebody's hungry. But we talk about the issues, and a lot of the issues that come out of a town, they might just relate to that town, but by and large, they can be very transferable to other communities. So we've set these tours up successively over the next several months. We're coming to a diner or a coffee house to your community pretty soon. If you happen to own a coffee shop or a diner, please give us a call, because we'd love to come down and meet at your establishment. I know we haven't come to Quincy yet, or to Weymouth, and we're probably going to spend a lot of time there because they're such larger communities, and I have a lot of favorite places in those communities that I can hang at. But we get a lot out of it. We're able to engage sometimes with our seniors who are there in the morning, and we're pushing our File for Life program. which is available not just to seniors but to everybody, and those File for Life cards that we have that hang on people's refrigerators. And the fire chief in Plainville today said that he carries a stack of them around with him all the time, because it's the seconds that a first responder gets into a person's house. Seconds mean everything in saving a life. And if that File for Life is on the refrigerator, that the first responder can instantly identify any underlying conditions that the individual has, who's the emergency contact, medication, where it's located, et cetera. So those are the important things that we do on those coffee hours to talk those programs up.
And I think we'll have a few images on the screen from beyond Plainville. You were in Plainville again this morning. That was the first image that folks did see. So there will be a couple other images we can pop up on the screen.
Yeah, we'll be in Stoughton on Friday. Yeah, that was me in Holbrook, I believe, down in Holbrook, chatting it up with the crew down there. And yeah, we had a lot of success at that event. And yeah, this was I'm not sure where we are there.
Looks cozy.
It was a very cozy little coffee shop. Yeah, that's me with the chief down in Franklin, I believe. So yeah, these are really productive. It's nice to bring together a mix of people to really discuss the public safety issues of the day and what's happening in the town, and they're very productive. And we started down county a little bit just to make sure Plainville and Franklin. We were down at Bellingham already, and we're making our way basically back up to home base a little bit. But we'll be in Stoughton on Friday, and then next week I'm down in Washington, D.C., so I won't be doing too many coffee tours, at least up here, but down in D.C. I'll be down in D.C. with the national sheriffs and the major county sheriffs of America. But I will be having coffee down there with them too.
I'm sure.
And maybe see if Congressman Lynch is around, if he wants to have a cup of coffee.
I'm sure he will. In just the last couple of minutes, a thought about updating the Triad program.
So our Triad program is a program that was started by the National Sheriff's Association. It is a partnership between the Sheriff's Office, the Council on Aging, and the local police department. We've added extra components in Norfolk County, which I think have only enhanced the program, and that's bringing our district attorney, Mike Morrissey, involved, as well as the local fire chiefs. And together we actually put together this program that puts together a local council of active seniors to talk about the various issues affecting seniors on a public safety, whether it's scams going on, life-saving issues, like the fire chief in Plainville even talked about today about going around volunteering to make sure that the batteries are changed in people's fire alarms and carbon monoxide meters. So that Triad program, we're relaunching that this spring. We're meeting with Council on Aging directors as we speak now to set those meetings up, and we're getting ready for a big celebration to relaunch that Triad program in Norfolk County probably sometime in March.
And we'll talk more about that in the future, but I do want to mention briefly the Are You OK program.
Yes, Are You OK program, it's sponsored through our Councils on Aging. It is an automated phone system that checks in with our seniors. You sign up for the system, you sign up for a particular time of the day, we contact you. If you don't respond to that initial phone call, we initiate a follow-up phone call. Without a positive contact, we initiate first responder response to make sure that you are okay. We've had countless saves on this program. We're urging anybody that might live by themselves or has a family member that's living alone, that you don't have an opportunity to check in with them every day. This is a great insurance policy. Check out on our website, norfolksheriff.com, and you can find out all the sign-up information for that. We'll be pushing that program a lot more coming up in the next few months.
And we should mention that program is free.
Free, absolutely. Most of the things that we offer in the Sheriff's Office, we don't charge anything for anything that we offer, whether it's the Files for Life, we hand those out. Are You OK? Free membership, the Yellow Dot program. We're looking forward to also celebrating an intergenerational program with high school kids and our seniors, and that'll come up in the spring as well.
All right, we have under 15 seconds left, so thank you very much for joining me today, and we welcome you back in the future.
Always. Thanks, Mark.
And thank you at home for watching. Please continue to support Local Access Television for programs just like this.